Hey, did you see they finally revealed that Concord game? It just totally looks like
My
Overwatch.
game of the year 2016.
And it kind of looks and sounds like Guardians of the Galaxy.
I love those movies,
And it's like not from an established franchise, but a new IP.
which I'm always begging for,
Also, Sony's trying to make a live service game, like stay in your
even though
lane.
I'm always complaining that all you do is make single player cinematic games. Ludo! Lingo!
Hello and welcome to Ludo Lingo episode 2. Today we're going to do things a little bit differently in that I did not script this video whatsoever. I'm just going to say what's on the top of my mind. First, let's get a little bit of context out of the way because I think it will be important and helpful in understanding where I'm coming from. I played Overwatch when it first came out, enjoyed it quite a bit, probably played it for 1 or 2 months, then kind of just fell off and wasn't interested anymore. But for a lot of multiplayer shooters, that's kind of how it goes for me. I don't stick around and play games for years upon years. I don't understand that at all. On the other hand, we have Marvel, which I'm not interested in whatsoever. Don't care about the comics. Only watched a couple of the movies. The Iron Man movies, I watched them. They were fine. Wasn't interested in watching anything past that. I think I watched like Winter Soldier. That was like good, but again, overall, don't really care. But I am very aware of what other people think about these things. And that's kind of where this topic is going to go. This is going to be me examining and trying to understand how people that seemingly think certain ways about certain things now completely think the opposite. So what is the internet's interpretation of Overwatch over the years? At first, came out, explosion, huge success, everyone thinks it's incredible, wins Game of the Year awards, everyone's like, oh my god, this is the best new shooter in such a long time, oh, it's so good, oh, la, la, la. Goes on for a few years, I don't know exactly how long it stayed at its peak, but everyone loved it. Everyone still speaks fondly of the first year or two of Overwatch. Over time, love and appreciation for it has gone down, and there was a massive overturning of all of this when Overwatch 2 was revealed and then came out, and people had a lot of issues with that. That could be its own topic. Over time, the sentiment towards Overwatch in general has been going down, and it's been a lot more negative over the last couple of years. On the other hand, we have Marvel, which, as I'm sure you're aware, just from the outside looking in, everyone was in love with all of the Marvel movies. Not all of them, you know what I mean. Everyone loved the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe thing leading up into the Avengers and the multiple Avengers movies, and then it seemed like public opinion has gone pretty significantly south and people are tired of it and blah blah blah. And in the midst of all that, you have the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, which seem to kind of stand out and be a little bit separate, and they seem to have more of a positive reception, even though they were kind of coexisting around the time that things seemed to be tapering off and sentiment was getting more negative regarding Marvel as a whole. Again, this is just an outsider's perspective, taking in others' opinions over the years. If I'm totally off base on any of this, so be it. And then a third pillar of this is people's distaste, which I agree with, for everything being a sequel, and there not being enough risks taken, there not being any new IPs, all of the companies trying to play it safe. Again, speaking about Disney, you've got them totally relying on Star Wars or Marvel. And then in the case of video games, you've got companies that are totally relying on whatever IP it is that is most successful for them. People wanting new IP from Nintendo, even though they rarely do it. Outside of Nintendo, you have Sony, and you have people being upset with them relying on, again, key IP, whether that be Horizon or The Last of Us. People want more experimentation, people want more new IPs, and that's totally valid. I agree. So that's me summing up the internet's opinion on these few topics. I'm just saying what I've perceived. This all leads up to this Concord reveal. Leading up to this reveal, I had very little to no interest in this game. I didn't think I was going to care at all. And to be honest, I still am pretty neutral on it. But here's the thing. For some reason, me being neutral on this game is going to come off in this video as me being like super supportive and positive towards it, which is insane because that is not how I feel. But because of people's just incredible distaste for this reveal, for some reason, it has 10 times as many dislikes on YouTube on the trailer as the likes. The ratio is just completely skewed to negative. I've rarely seen anyone write anything or say anything on the internet that was positive about this, and I cannot comprehend how we are in this position right now. I feel like there's a lot of hypocrisy going on. So the internet loved Overwatch when it first came out. And like I said, it has slowly become a more negative sentiment. Now we have this game be revealed and people are like, "Ah, they're just copying Overwatch. I'm not interested." Why don't you want to try something new perhaps that might give you a similar feeling as to when you first played Overwatch? Maybe it is better than Overwatch. Apparently Overwatch is not very interesting anymore, so it shouldn't be that hard. No, we're just gonna write it off immediately. It does not even get a chance. Then you've got the thing where people are like, "Oh, it's got Marvel writing, I'm out. This is such a boardroom decision." And listen, that's the part where I'm most in line with what people are saying. That's fair. I can sense the Marvel dialogue stink a mile away.
Technically, it was a plan, it just wasn't the same plan that we started with.
You might be right about that. At the same time, this sharing similarities with something like Guardians of the Galaxy, why is that just inherently this terrible thing? As if every new piece of media that comes out has to be entirely unique and can't borrow from other popular things. That's how everything works. Everything is iterative and takes from other things. But for some reason, in this case, all that matters is that this is taking from other things, therefore it's bad. You don't get a chance. What? Again, like I said, people like Guardians of the Galaxy. People liked Overwatch. This thing is a mixture of those two things and probably lots of things that make it unique, but it's shit. Also, it's an entirely new IP. They're not leaning on anything. If this came out and it was like Killzone, but basically the same thing, but it was Killzone, would people be more interested? Probably. Would I be more interested? Maybe I would, and that's kind of a problem. All that does is reinforce these companies in their mindset that they should be playing things safe and using things that people are familiar with already. Which is kind of what they're doing here, which is again why this is such a mess. The reason that I'm kind of worried, I guess, about the way that people are responding to this is that it's sending a signal to the developers, or more importantly, people that are higher up in Sony itself. And that signal is telling them, we shouldn't have tried to do this new thing. I told you. Somebody there is being like, I told you we shouldn't have tried that. I told you we should have played it more safe, like we've been doing, that everyone's complaining about us doing. I just don't get the sentiment that because it seems like Overwatch, it's bad. Because it seems like Guardians of the Galaxy, it's bad. These are things that people like. Or liked. Also, the other stuff that they talked about was pretty interesting. The whole like weekly vignettes thing to get you to know the characters more. That sounds cool. That's interesting. That's new. The way they were talking about how the game handles and how it is supposed to feel weighty and how the characters are all balanced against each other even though they're all mismatched and stuff. Again, I like the way they're talking about it. That sounds cool. That makes me more interested in it. And again, I'm not necessarily going to get this game. I'm still a little bit iffy on it. But I'm willing to give it a chance. I'm willing to see more information. Everyone's just like, no, you don't get an opportunity. We, the people of the internet, have decided this is shit. That's so annoying. I'm actually annoyed. Everyone is so negative now. I am a very critical person when it comes to video games. I can be pretty negative about certain things that I don't like. So this is rich coming from me, but like, can we stop being so negative, maybe? What I am afraid of is this game coming out and it failing because people are not willing to give it a chance because it's like other things, not because it's not a good video game. That's what I'm worried about. If this game comes out and it's actually pretty great, and leading up to it, it gets more interesting, and I'm like, you know what, I am gonna play this, I'm gonna try it. And then I'm like, this is really good, but everyone around me is not even bothering trying to play it because it looks like Overwatch, something that was at one point very highly regarded, and also might look and sound something like Guardians of the Galaxy, which again is very highly regarded. And it's a completely new IP with all new characters and designs and everything, which is something that people very much so want. But nobody tries it. It just fails. It flops. But it's great. I'm gonna be quite upset. And then all those people go back to playing Call of Duty or Fortnite or whatever, month after year, because it's just so great to play the same thing every year. If that happens, I'm gonna be so annoyed. If the game comes out and it's not good, which is totally possible, and I'm not even remotely denying that that's a possibility, that's totally fine. If it fails because of that, good. It deserves to, because it's not good. We don't know that. I don't know where else to go with this. I think that's going to be the end of this video. Thank you to those on Patreon that support me. Kinos, Zion, Max, Cookie. I'll see you next week. Check me out on Twitch if you'd like. I stream there a couple times a week. Also, check me out on Backlogged if you want to see reviews for every game that I've ever played. Please leave a comment if you have anything to say about anything that I've said. I'm quite curious about people's opinions on this matter. I would like to know what you think about what I think, and also what you think about the trailer itself. Hopefully, without just being like, it's shit.